The Business Finance Podcast, brought to you by the Best Finance Group. New episodes every Friday.
Hello and welcome to the Business Finance Podcast, episode 8.
Wow.
Now, I've got a statistic for you. I read the other day that only 42% of podcasts never make it to their 8th episode.
Really?
So we're on the right side of the statistics there. So that's something to be happy about. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we're going to talk today about, obviously we had the budget recently and a bit tough on a lot of businesses. Things like employers' national insurance contributions going up and different aspects around disposing of companies. So there has been a little bit of bad news for a lot of businesses. What we thought we'd focus on today is a sector that we work in a lot, and that's the construction sector. And actually, with all these taxes being raised, there is a lot of money going into infrastructure. I think some billions and billions of pounds are going into infrastructure. So what we thought is we thought we'd talk about some good news for the construction sector, the type of companies that we think will benefit from these new schemes, and we'll touch on how we finance those schemes and how we help people. There's various different products. So we thought we'd touch on how they might be able to think ahead, really, about the type of finance products that are available to them before they start bidding on tenders and things like that. So, are you happy with that? We're going to
Absolutely, let's do it. Yeah,
right,
let's
brilliant.
go for it.
Okay, well, I'm going to read a lot from my notes today because there's a lot I want to get through. So, we're going to start off. So there's about 5 or 6 points. The first one is the increased focus on infrastructure development. Okay, so the government's allocated substantial funds for infrastructure projects, which includes road, railways, airports, and urban development.
Road, railway and airport, okay, cool.
Yeah, with increased spending on these sectors, and the construction industry stands to benefit from higher demand for construction services and materials, which we're going to touch on in a second. Large-scale urban development projects, particularly in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, and public-private partnerships, which opens opportunities for private firms to participate in large infrastructure development.
So coming in there, just on that one point you mentioned there about private companies. So what you're saying is actually there's going to be a lot more government funding out there for these projects, and that's an opportunity for many private construction companies to come in and win those contracts.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right, okay.
So we've got a few examples, actually. So the budget outlined significant investments in highways, bridges, smart cities, so construction companies involved in civil engineering, project management, urban planning would benefit. We've also got road maintenance and upgrades, rail projects as well. The budget has included allocations for major rail projects. Won't mention HS2 because not sure what's going on there. But firms with expertise in rail infrastructure may see some really good new tenders and contracts. What do we say to people if somebody is looking at doing a tender? When is a good time to start thinking about, well, what happens? Because we do get the calls, well, I've just won this project, I'm not sure how I'm going to fund it. So when would be a good time to start planning and looking at options for something like that?
Yeah, well, to give you a real-time example, I've got a client in Newport, not too far from yourself, and they've just won a £1.3 million new contract in the construction industry. Yeah. He only turns over 1.5 at the moment, so it's pretty much going to double his turnover.
Brilliant.
And his accountant, and a good accountant as well, said, right, speak to Jack because you've won this contract, but how are you going to fund it? So to answer the question, it's really from the outset and before you start work, because once you've started work, once that spade goes in the ground or you start delivering it, then you're playing catch up. So if you've got a timescale of say April 2025 next year, think about now, right, okay, have I got the staff? Have I got the infrastructure? Have I got the operational capability to manage and deliver this project? And have I got the cash flow funding? Because that's probably the most common reason why construction businesses, or two most common reason why construction businesses will fail, is because they run out of cash or they take on a bad debt. So if you can mitigate against those two things, you're in a good place.
Especially if you're using construction finance, which is basically invoice factoring used specifically for the construction industry. If you get copies of contracts, it's great to get that early as well, because the funder will want to have a look at, make sure there's no nasty clauses in there.
So they will review the contract?
They will review the contracts. And if it's over a certain amount, let's say it's over a couple £100,000, some of the funders do have experts who will look specifically at those contracts. So that's just part of the deal that comes with a proper construction finance funder.
Yeah.
So they will want to see these the terms and conditions of a contract, and these contracts can be 40, 50, 60, 70 pages long. So as soon as you get that, you want that off to the underwriters, so they can have a good look through it, and they might say, well, they don't like that clause, don't like that clause. But again, you don't want to be doing that when you say, oh, I've just put my first application for payment in, I need some money, and then someone's got a 90-page contract to go through.
Yeah, I suppose it's that extra layer of protection, isn't it? Because if I was a construction business owner and someone was going to review my contract free of charge, right, and they're going to fund it, and they come and they bring to my attention, actually, Jack, clause 3.6 and 4.8, you want to be a bit careful here because of this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Gives you a bit of time to go back and forward and negotiate it.
Yeah, and how much more professional does that make you look as a business owner?
Good point.
Because you've taken the time to review these large contracts, and you've added credibility.
You've protected yourself.
And you've protected yourself.
Yeah,
it's almost like having a QS, a quantity surveyor, in-house as well, because they're on your side. You know, ultimately, the funder isn't going to put themselves at risk and put you at risk, because then no one wins. So they want to protect themselves and protect you. Yeah. So that's huge. That's something huge. That is.
Yeah, it's definitely something really to consider as early as possible.
Yeah.
So we said, so civil engineering. Yeah. Anyone in the road maintenance, highways, bridges. So they're the type of businesses that we'll be speaking to now in the next couple of months.
Absolutely.
So that's that one. So just quickly touching on skill development as well. There'll be a lot of training programs. They're trying to improve the skills of construction workers, which could lead to higher productivity and better quality in construction projects and to be more efficient. Which might make savings.
Yeah. Because getting those skilled workers is recruitment. Viewers don't need to, they don't need us to say how difficult recruitment is at the moment.
Yeah, especially in that sector, there's hundreds of thousands needed, isn't it? Of staff, and that's always a big pain point, isn't it? Getting the right staff. So there's going to be some sort of incentives, they reckon, for construction workers, especially in areas like safety training and specialised skill certifications. As I say, looking for a better trained labour force. So all those companies out there that train in construction, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for them. So they should be keeping an eye on their tenders, and again, looking at how can we finance these deals if we win them. So really should be looking forward to next year now and putting a plan together. Road maintenance, 2025 to 2026, they've earmarked a lot of money for road maintenance. So that's, again, it's a year or so away, but it's time to start looking at that now. Big focus on green and sustainable construction. This is a massive one. So the notes I wrote, the increased attention on environmental sustainability. Yep. Okay, so there's a big push for green building materials, energy efficient buildings, and sustainable urban planning. So the government's been emphasising green technologies in its budgetary allocations. Now that opens up opportunities now for sustainable construction materials. So that could be things like eco-friendly cement, recycled building products, any sort of recycled building materials. So if you're supplying those, or if you're thinking of getting into that business, now is such a great time. A great time, because that would be something like a invoice finance facility for something like that.
Yeah, any wholesale, isn't it? That wholesale, because you're only as good as your cash flow, your buying power and your selling power. If you've got the ability to buy goods in, sell them, and get paid quicker through invoice finance, factoring and invoice discounting. Yeah, that's gonna speed up your cash flow cycle, allow you to grow, and it's the government behind it in the public sector that they're really pushing these contracts out into the private sector as well. That means for all construction businesses, this is where you got to be.
If you're supplying into the construction, I mean, even if you had a relatively new business, you can get those contracts. We could use, even if you're importing, let's say importing concrete from China or recycled materials from India or whatever it may be, you can use trade finance, can't you? So
trade
we can pay the
finance, yeah.
supplier up front. Okay, they'll release the goods.
Yep.
Yeah, and you'll be charged a percentage or two a month until you sell that to your customer.
Yeah.
Once you sell it to the customer, you can use invoice finance to get the money on the back end.
Yeah.
And then you pay the trade finance off. Yeah. So
effectively
they're
they're
products.
Yeah.
You could start. You could.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, because you've got someone buying the product in for you, and then when you're selling it, funding that part. So from cradle to grave, end to end. But you can actually just have a standalone trade finance product as well, can't you?
Yeah, you could, like a revolving credit facility, trade finance revolving credit facility, which we do quite a lot of actually.
Yeah, they're really popular. Revolving credit facilities, like your giant overdraft, you're just paying for what you're using for the time that you're borrowing. Absolutely massive. One thing I will say with trade finance, do your due diligence on the countries that you're dealing with and the customers you're dealing with, where you're buying those goods from. Once you've got that, and along with the paper trail, there's loads of resources out there that you can tap into to get yourself ready for trade. But yeah,
I've been speaking to a company that's looking to import green concrete.
Green concrete
from Australia.
Oh wow!
So we're looking at that now, and that's quite sizable. We're talking, they've got orders lined up for potentially millions of pounds straight away.
Yeah,
so it's like, ooh,
that's that I could see really.
That's where it's going, isn't it?
Yeah, because we're trying, and rightfully so. Is the government has targets to hit, don't they? For
net zero targets.
Concrete is probably the most widely used, or one of the most widely used products in the construction industry, and it's so polluting, isn't it? It's not great for us humans as well as the planet that we live on.
Yeah.
So if we can make that green, I could see that.
There's opportunities there, isn't there?
Huge opportunity.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting one.
Yeah. So any building materials, eco-friendly materials, have a chat to us, because we can give you some really good advice on that. So just a couple more. There was just to carry on with the green and sustainable construction. So green building certifications. So companies that are involved in that. We've got renewable energy integration in new infrastructure products. So we've got especially in public and commercial buildings, green building standards, low carbon construction again. So they've got ambitious goals to reduce carbon emissions from the construction sector. So if you're investing in sustainable low carbon building methods like low carbon concrete, recycled materials again, you could be looking at both public and private sector contracts.
Right. Okay.
So that's the green. Green is the big thing, isn't it?
So there's a real push on green energy, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So moving on to public sector infrastructure projects. So again, there's going to be spending on critical infrastructure projects like schools and hospitals.
Okay.
Okay, there's going to be increased funding for building and renovation of schools, hospitals and other public sector buildings. There's projects like the school rebuilding programme.
Right.
And there's NHS infrastructure development, and that often involves a wide range of construction firms as well. Green public buildings, again, green infrastructure. This could extend to public sector buildings where projects involving new eco-friendly office spaces, green energy solutions, sustainable materials will open opportunities. I think we're in the wrong business, Jack. I think we should be in that.
If you're in the construction industry, there's a hell of a lot of opportunity out there.
Well, if anyone deserves a break, it's people in the construction industry, because look what they've gone through in the last couple of years. It's such a tough sector.
It's very difficult.
I mean, you look at ISG going through and the knock-on effect of that. They were the sixth largest construction company in the UK. That's another that could be another podcast, but they've had a really tough time, and we know from trying to get credit insurance over the last 12 to 18 months has been difficult. And just so many insolvencies and so many subcontractors not getting paid, and it's just been a really tough time. So we wanted to focus on that, because hopefully the construction sector can benefit from this, and everyone should be looking towards how they can get involved and get their piece of the pie, because they bloody deserve it. So
too right.
I think.
Too right. Yeah.
So okay, support for smaller firms and local construction. Some parts of the budget may focus on helping smaller or regional construction firms. So regional investment and levelling up. They previously focused on regions outside London and the South East. So they direct funds towards infrastructure, housing and regeneration projects. So it's going to be in the North and the Midland and Wales. So smaller or local construction firms then in those regions may benefit from the public works contracts,
Okay.
which is designed to improve regional development.
Yeah.
So a lot of the smaller regional construction companies should hopefully get a piece of the pie as well, rather than going to the large house builders or the major construction firms who then pass it down to subcontractors.
Yeah.
You would hope that some smaller construction companies see the chance to grow double or even
Yeah.
triple in size.
Well, that's brilliant, isn't it? Because we're a nation of small to medium-sized businesses.
Yeah.
If those construction industries can, like you said, get a piece of the pie and tap into that.
It's just great for the local economy,
Yeah.
local workforce.
Yeah.
So that they say the budget may include tax incentives, grants or loans aimed at supporting small and medium-sized enterprises and the construction sector.
There is, talking of that then, on the funding available for construction businesses backed by the government, there's the Growth Guarantee Scheme, isn't there?
Yeah.
The Growth Guarantee Scheme that brings funding to small to medium-sized businesses, which is backed by the government, 5-6 year term loan. That can
70% guaranteed.
to
the lender by the government.
Yeah.
And construction, actually, because of the high turnover, they quite like giving loans to construction businesses, don't they?
Yeah.
So it's we get a lot of construction businesses.
It's one of the biggest sectors that we fund in the business loan world. Is construction.
Yeah. Green Deal and energy security. So this is the last one, really. So the government's commitments to sustainability and energy independence might create opportunities in green energy infrastructure. This is offshore wind farms and renewable energy projects.
Yeah.
Construction firms involved in renewable energy products such as wind farms, solar parks, hydrogen infrastructure will all benefit the UK's push to increase its green energy capacity. Energy storage and grid infrastructure. My note here, as the UK transitions to more renewable energy sources, the construction of energy storage systems like batteries, grid infrastructure, again, is likely to be a growing area of opportunity. Mm-hmm. So again.
Well, the green, I've funded a couple of solar panel, battery companies, because there's a lot of R&D which goes on in that space by the very nature of technology, the speed that it's working at. And we've all seen how many solar panels and the push there is on solar panels, because electric cars alone, the rate at which electric cars are taking off, there's more and more and more of them, isn't there? So so they've got to put the infrastructure in place to facilitate that.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it'd just come back to me. So when we were speaking to one of our asset finance lenders, actually quite a few of the asset finance lenders, they'll have special products for, if it's anything to do with green, they've got special rates. Yeah. So if you are looking at like asset finance especially, and it's anything to do with that sort of green space, there are special schemes that a lot of the major lenders have that you may not be aware of. So it's always worth having a chat with us and say, well, this is a green project, what have you got?
Yeah.
So actually it's worth touching on asset finance, because all these companies in construction will be buying assets at some point. So we basically do a whole of the market search, don't we? As I say, we've got access to schemes like these green schemes.
Yes, yeah.
So all you basically do is tell us exactly what the equipment is, just the amount. It's just the basics, really.
Yeah. What the, like you said, what the asset is, what deposit you want to put down, if any, and the term that you want it over. We can get some quotes within a couple of days. Yeah. And then, we do the legwork and we supply the options available. Yeah,
we did mention on that the other podcast about the credit line with asset finance. So rather than every time you have to apply and go through the process, that we can put a credit line in place. So it might be £1 million line for the year. You've got £100,000 piece of kit, but you need to buy them regularly. Yeah, it's just there to draw down from as and when, and you've got 12 months to use it up. So that's a lot. That saves a lot of time.
It does indeed, yeah.
So that's that. So just to summarise then, there's several opportunities there for construction firms, especially in infrastructure investment, affordable housing, green and sustainable building projects and workforce development. Companies that specialise in specific sectors like road construction, energy efficient retrofitting and public sector infrastructure should closely monitor upcoming tenders and funding announcements. And additionally, the push towards regional development and sustainability presents avenues for innovation and long-term growth for construction firms in the UK.
Fantastic.
So yeah, so I hope that's helpful. We're focusing on the positives.
Yeah.
We do support the construction industry, and some of our best clients, aren't they?
Yeah.
We've got some really, really great people that
We're
work
there
in
for you, construction business owners.
We're there for you because we know how hard it is. We know you've had a tough couple of years, and hopefully there'll be a lot of you out there looking at this now and thinking, right, now is the time to cash in. We've been through all the hard times.
And now it's a business growth.
Yeah. So good luck to you all. Let us know if you need any help or assistance. We're here to talk you through all your options. If you've had any value from this video, we'd appreciate a like and a subscribe. Trying to grow our subscriber base, aren't we?
Absolutely.
So thank you for joining us, whether you're watching or listening. Please share this to anyone else in the construction industry or any of your business colleagues or with your accountant or business advisors. Please get them watching, and we'd love any comments, suggestions for future episodes. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah,
okay.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much. See you on the next one.
Thank you for watching. If you have any commercial finance requirements, please visit us at thebestgroup.co.uk. Thanks for joining us.